acá en la cancha, estamos en el Bernabéu donde viene Messi con la pelota, lo ve a Ronaldinho, pide Ronaldinho, gol. De cabeça, olha chance, olha gol, golaço!
Ladies and gentlemen, señoras y señores, family, friends, boys, girls, animals, pets, all of the above, etc. Welcome back to the Golazo Football Podcast with yours truly here, DTG, aka Dave the Goalie for any of you new listeners. I say new listeners because shout out the new Fantasy Premier League, which has so many people in it. I cannot believe my eyes when I saw within the first 2 days, because if you guys were aware, when the last episode came out Wednesday/Thursday, at that point the league was only a day or two old. I'd come up with the idea and presented it to the rest of the Mundo fam, Andres, Fernando, Devin, Erlen, the social media team guys right there. A few days before the Premier League kicked off, right, which was last week. If we had started this at the start of the summer, I can't even imagine how many people we would have. So shout out all the FPL pages, social medias that have helped us out tremendously. It's just mind blowing. I can't really thank you guys enough. We can't really thank you guys enough from the bottom of our hearts here at Mundo Football and the Golazo Football Podcast. It's just incredible. So just to kick off the episode with a bang, you know the vibes. We gotta talk about FPL for a little bit. Oh, sorry, shook the mic there a little bit. Hope that didn't ruin the audio. But yeah, it's just how excited I am. Just like a good sound effect right there. I mean, a cheap sound effect. It's literally my hands just like clapping together like that. I'm just that hyped for fantasy Premier League. So basically, if you guys haven't joined already, it's never too late to join. And there is a point to joining on, no matter how late you join. For instance, even if you were not registered in Game Week 1, and you're registered in Game Week 2, and you're thinking, oh, these guys are already ahead of me because they have Game Week 1, they had a week's advantage or whatever. Don't think of it like that. Remember, we're not going by total overall points. If you are listening to this and you are the overall winner at the end of the season, congratulations. But the prize at hand, realistically, the most obtainable reward would be finishing top at a game week. For example, you could be a newbie entering our league in game week 2, even though you missed the first game week. If you end up with the most points this second week, just from game week 2 points, not overall points, just from this second week upcoming in the Premier League, you will get 10 Mundo Credits. It's that simple. Even if you join midway of the season, as long as you come up top in game weeks, you will get Mundo Credits, Mundo points. I'm forgetting myself, man. It's just so many people in this league. I have the leaderboards up here. It's just crazy. So yeah, I'm still, as you can tell, I'm still shook. I'm still in shock. I'm shook. I'm shocked. I'm all of the above, man. I'm ecstatic about this. And basically, before I get into revealing the winners, I just wanted to give a few tips out there, because I know a lot of people were confused on how to join the league, how to play Fantasy Premier League. I'm pretty sure a lot of people were enticed by the rewards given out. So yeah, I mean, I don't blame you guys. Free merch, hell yeah, let's do it. But before I get into the rules and then overall winner of Game Week 1, first, if you haven't joined already, the code is 7R7BRB. I will say it one more time, 7R7BRB. If you can't really understand me for some reason, go to our social media pages on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Mundo de Football or Golazo FP, which is the page of this podcast. We're all in association with each other. Give us a follow while you're at it there. Turn on post notifications if you're interested. Will be muchly appreciated. But yeah, on there we have the poster, our flyer, whatever you want to call it, of well, courtesy to Andres for making it. It looks fantastic. Where it has like the rules, description, and the rewards as the point of the valuation of points and all that stuff, and how they correlate. How many points equals to a free tracksuit, etc., etc. You get what I mean. So basically, let me just get into a few tips because, as I was like hinting at earlier, there's a lot of new people into this league. I either added this game week, last game week, whenever, that have never played Fantasy Premier League but just want to do it for, whether because they just want to play for fun or they just are enticed by the rewards and they wanna give it a shot to see if they have what it takes. I will say I'm not gonna give you guys hints myself, so to say, because obviously I'm competing myself. I want to do well. Um, I will say, game week 1, I did get 75 points. The average point tally is 65. Personally, outside of the Mundo Fantasy League, if whenever I get above the average points, I could feel proud of myself. Although the number one player in the world at the moment had 142 points, which is just insane. But you're gonna say, how do you have this many points at the start? Basically, I personally would not do it. It's up to you. You guys have chips when you play. You have triple captain, you have free hit, and you have wild card. Now, what those are is triple captain. You get a captain, right? This man in first place, or woman, this player, let's just say player, to avoid any any problems like that. But this player had Raheem Sterling as his captain, and if you guys were aware or were not aware, Man City beat West Ham away 5-0 at the Olympic Stadium with Raheem Sterling scoring a hat trick. And since he had Raheem Sterling as his captain, your captain gets a points boost. And when he has a triple captain on him, the points get multiplied. So therefore, Raheem Sterling got him. Let me just double check here. 60 points all on his own, which is 5 less than the average points, which is just insane within itself. And if you guys have had players, a good like high scoring players from game week 1, oh, that's my phone going off. Sorry about that. You will see a blue star next to their name, whether you be on desktop or on mobile or on any type of tablet. You'll see a blue star next to them, or a white star with like blue around it in a blue circle, and that means that player was a part of the team of the week. The FPL team of the week is are the highest scoring players of each game week. Obviously Raheem Sterling, and it was on his own with the hat trick. I had vice captain on him, so he gave me not as many points, but a few points. I had Mohamed Salah as my captain because obviously, no disrespect, Norwich are a weaker opposition than West Ham, and I thought West Ham would have given up a better fight against Man City. I do rate West Ham. We've gone through their transfers this on this podcast, and obviously they already had players from last season like Declan Rice, who were good, high performing players, Felipe Anderson, Issa Diop, Lucas Fabianski, etc., etc. So yeah, but that just goes to show how good City are, that they are able to steamroll a decent team, not in my opinion, not a bad team at all whatsoever, in West Ham United away from home at their own place, while Liverpool hosted, right? They were at home at Anfield to Norwich City, the champions of the championship, and it ended up winning 4-1, I believe it was. Basically, from my memory, Salah scored, Van Dijk scored, Bobby Firmino scored, and Divock Origi. And essentially, Mohamed Salah scored a goal and got 2 assists in that game. And I thought, I mean, realistically, yeah, like, who wouldn't think that the easier game would be for Liverpool in that case? So I thought, oh, Salah has a better chance to score more goals. I was wrong. I mean, shout out to Norwich City. They did put up a good fight. It was a 4-1 win with the first goal being an own goal by the captain, Grant Hanley. Salah, assisted by Firmino. You also get not bonus points. You also get points for assists as well. Van Dijk scored with an assist from Salah. And then Trent Alexander-Arnold, another popular FPL pick, assisted Divock Origi. So yeah, that's that. In the team of the week, you have like the likes of De Gea, Maitland-Niles from Arsenal, Lewis Dunk, Chris Mepham from Bournemouth, Lewis Dunk from Brighton, I should say, Eric Peters from Burnley, Sterling, Morris, Salah, Rashford, Kane, and Barnes. We'll get into the actual discussion of the actual real life results in a little bit. But yeah, going back to what I said about triple captain, so a lot of people use triple captain this game week. You guys have to be careful. Triple captain is something you can only use once a season, and you have to use it wisely. I'm sorry to put him on the spot here, but our very own Fernando used triple captain on David Silva, and yeah, he's gonna live to regret that massively. But you know, you live and you learn. You learn through these experiences. Other perks include for you new players the free hit. This is very crucial in the sense that with a free hit you can make unlimited transfers. Yes, before game week 1 you were able to make unlimited transfers. Now you get points deducted if you make more than one free transfer. You get one free transfer a week to take out an injured player, which I know I knew I had to do because I had this is pretty funny. I had Ederson in goal all throughout the build up to the Premier League. The day the Prem started, I put in Alisson, and Alisson gets injured for 48 weeks against Norwich City. So now I have to put Ederson back in, so there's my transfer gone. But with a free hit, you get to make more than that one transfer without any consequences. And I mean, that's just really up to you when you want to use it. I mean, I wouldn't use any chips this early, to be honest with you. I know this is going to happen to a lot of people. I know for a fact a bunch of you new players already made this mistake where you just change your entire team, and you guys will be in the negative points. Like, I'm sorry to say, like, you will lose like at least 50 points if you changed up at least half your team. I'm sorry to put it to you. I'm sorry to break it to you. That's that. And then with a wild card, you get a wild card twice a season. And with the wild card, you get to change your team completely for one game week. So you get, like I said, free transfers, but it'll only stay like that for 1 week. So you could literally build a dream team, but it'll only be for one game week. And then after that game week is over, your team will change back to the team that it was prior to that. And you won't lose a point. You won't lose the points, as I said. Wild card, like I said, is twice a season. Free hit, you are able to use it now from game week 2 onwards because it makes sense, because obviously game week 1 you're able to make unlimited transfers. Now the triple captain, like I said, is once a week. Bench boost is the last one. Now on FPL your bench does not get any points. The reason why your bench is there and doesn't earn you any points is because it's for this reason. The bench boost, you get the points from your bench players. So you want to make sure you have a decent bench every game week. Not only to use the bench boost whenever you feel like it, but also because having a decent bench is useful in the sense that if a player gets injured but you need to make another transfer in another department of your team, you don't want to keep that injured player in your team because it wouldn't make any sense, or suspended player. So you just sub that injured or suspended player out for the player on your bench. So you have like a nice and tidy player ready at your disposal. So you wouldn't have to waste another transfer and get deducted points. So that's where it comes useful to having a decent bench. Now, I've rambled on long enough when it comes to to the chips and whatnot and the perks and what to do. I want to get to the actual football, so I'm going to reveal the winner now. I will say, if anybody does need more assistance on Fantasy Premier League, I do suggest watching FPL channels on YouTube. Just search up Fantasy Premier League or FPL on YouTube. You get pages like FPL Tips, FPL TV, other guys like that, other pages that will help you out massively for beginners and for advice. But please don't be a loser. Don't copy their exact teams. Like don't be like that. Be original. Follow your instinct. Just follow them for advice. Please don't be a wanker and a football ficko and just copy their team straight out. That's not cool, you know. So I will say, I know I keep saying it, but before I say the winner, I am ranked 32 out of how many people were in this league. When we have other new entries as well. Wow, look at that. Okay. Jesus. So we have at least 100 people in this league, which is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. My God, 100 plus people? Wow. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I just need a moment. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know if you guys could hear it in my voice. I'm like getting emotional. I can't believe it's gotten this big. Wow. I have a tear creeping up, man. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much. This is incredible. Jesus Christ. Okay. Wow. Oh my God. So from game week, I'm sorry, I have to just say this. From game week 1, if you go all the way to the bottom, we have 92 people, but we have these new entries. We're gonna have, oh my God, at least 100. Wow. Okay, so with that being said, I think the points total needs to be boosted a little bit. Yeah, 10 isn't enough for this many people. All right, so breaking news. Since we have over 100 people in the league now, you don't get 10 points from each game week anymore. From this point forward, just to make it fair, because I think 20 would be too much, you get 15 points now for every game week that you come on top of. So, yeah, 15 points now. Wow. Oh my God. Okay. So, congratulations to Saad Abdullah from Bangladesh. Maybe he's from the US, but maybe he chose his nationality as from Bangladesh. Or maybe he is from there, so shout out Saad Abdullah. And your team, Schizophrenic FC. Interesting team names. Some of these team names are pretty interesting. Let's just try to keep it appropriate. I'm not saying that it is bad, but, you know. Yeah. Oh, you are a Manchester United fan, so. But you barely had any Man U play, except Wan-Bissaka on the bench. So, yeah. Congratulations to Saad Abdullah from Schizophrenic FC. You are the first inaugural Game Week 1 winner of the Mundo Fantasy League. And you have yourself 15 Mundo Credits. So let's see how many star players you have. You have Maitland-Niles and Sterling. You have triple captain on Sterling. Wow, with the 40 points. So yeah. Saad over here, Mr. Abdullah, I should say, rather. I don't know this man personally. I should just say Mr. Abdullah. Mr. Abdullah here has earned himself 93 points in game week 1. Pretty good, my friend. Pretty good. So congratulations once again. Saad Abdullah, Schizophrenic FC on top of the Mundo Fantasy League. You have earned yourself 15 points, my friend. So, wow, I'm still in shock from that. So let's just run over the Premier League fixtures real quick since I touched upon 2 of them. Obviously, the opening fixture last Friday was Liverpool versus Norwich. Liverpool comfortably winning 4-1. Shout out Timo Pukki for getting Norwich's goal. 29 goals in the championship last season. I'm excited to see how he's gonna do. I don't need to speak much about Liverpool. You know, they're the champions of Europe. You guys know what they're about. Same thing with Man City. As I said, I was surprised because West Ham by no means are a team to be sleeping on. They're not a relegation favorite team. They're They're a team pushing for like a Europa League place. Like, I'll tell you that much with the team that they have. But to get like completely steamrolled 5-0 by City, that's just sheesh. Shout out to everyone's nailed on relegation favorites, Sheffield United. Getting a late minute equalizer against Bournemouth at Bournemouth's home, the Vitality Stadium. That's impressive, for a team like Sheffield. You see their team. They're not a Premier League built team, honestly. But if you guys, I will say this about Sheffield United. If you guys don't know who Billy Sharp is, the man who got their equalizing goal at the death of the game, I want you to search up his story on YouTube. His celebration to his son, who sadly passed away. I forget, but it was his newborn child or whatever, or stillborn child. I'm not sure. This is why he was playing for Middlesbrough in the championship a couple years back, and it's very emotional. And to see him scoring the Premier League finally, he has scored for Sheffield United in League One, which they were in not too long ago, which is the third division of English football. Last season in the Championship, obviously, and now in the Premier League. Like, it's just a rags to riches story. Like, his story is incredible. So just search up Billy Sharp celebration when you have the chance, please. It's really touching to the heart. But to move on into other fixtures, just to get us moving away from the Prem. Burnley beat Southampton 3-0 at home, which is very, very surprising because I rate Ralph Hasenhüttl, the coach of Southampton, formerly of RB Leipzig. He guided RB Leipzig to second place in the Bundesliga in their promotion season when they first got to the Bundesliga, got them to the Champions League. Really, really good coach all around. So, and he's gotten some good players this window. He got Che Adams, the promising striker from Birmingham City. He has a decent back line with Vestergaard, Bednarek, Jack Stevens. James Ward-Prowse is a decent player. Angus Gunn, great goalie, but no, it's just, wow, Burnley just completely blitzed them out of the water, 3-0. Shout out Ashley Barnes, too. Scored 2 goals. You guys haven't had him in your fantasy Premier League team. He's one of the best players this week. And Nick Pope, surprisingly. Nick Pope, because he had like 3 saves and he kept a clean sheet. So it's a pretty good day all around for Burnley players in the FPL system. Game that surprised me was Crystal Palace versus Everton, 0-0. Obviously we all know how crazy Everton have gone in the window with, of course, buying Alex Iwobi at the last minute from Arsenal. And then you have Crystal Palace, who kept Wilfried Zaha, who stayed relatively quiet in the transfer window. But yeah, it's a pretty quiet game all around. And it was pretty funny because at first it was like Zaha to Arsenal, and then Arsenal got Pepe, and then it was Zaha to Everton. So this was kind of like the Wilfried Zaha derby right here, Crystal Palace versus Everton. Even though, respect to Zaha, after the game, he applauded the fans. He said, he shouted them out on social media. Well done to today's fans. This one was for you. I don't know if he said this one was for you because they didn't win, but he did give them a shout out or something around those lines. Another surprising result was Brighton away from home beating Watford 3-0. I have them tipped for relegation solely because they lost Chris Hutton, who who is a pretty decent Premier League coach who knows how to keep teams up and promote teams as well. For them to part ways with them, I know they were dreadful at the end of last season, but they have hired Graham Potter from Östersund, a Swedish team, and he's unproven in England. I mean, my mistake. They signed up from Swansea, which he was there for a year from after his stint at Östersund, the Swedish team. So yeah, I only know Östersund because we played them in the Europa League 2 seasons ago. So yeah, but no, this is like a proper win. You have if you had Lewis Dunk on your team, as I mentioned earlier, then a center back scoring in the game, and then also did he score? Yeah, he scored and got an assist, I think, which is crazy for a center back, and kept the clean sheet. So yeah, they had themselves a day against Watford, who are a decent team. They signed Danny Welbeck on a free and Ismail Sarr for 40 million, club record free from Stade Rennais. This boy was looked at by Arsenal and other teams, the Senegalese international. Like, they didn't play this game because they were just presented that game, but I think they'll make a difference. I think they were a big miss for this game. But even with that being said, Watford are a decent team. Like, I'm surprised that happened to them. Moreover, we have Spurs versus Aston Villa. Villa taking the lead by taking the lead by John McGinn's strike. Great little player. Watch out for John McGinn. I will say, everyone not only on Fantasy Premier League but in real life. John McGinn is a decent player. And then you have the new record signing for Spurs, Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon, scoring a scorcher from 20 yards out, and then Harry Kane netting a brace to win 3-1. Good performance from Aston Villa at the end of the day. It wasn't that bad, but Spurs at the end of the day showing their class, why they were painfully, for me to say, European finalists of the Champions League. And then the following day, these were Saturday's games, by the way. Friday was Liverpool and Norwich only. Saturday we had Leicester versus Wolves, just a snooze fest all around. I mean, two decent teams. I'll say that. Two really good level teams going head to head. It was just a boring game all around. Newcastle at home to Arsenal. I was impressed with the performance. Obviously, if you guys didn't know what happened with Kolasinac and Ozil with the knife crime investigation, they were absent from the game. Plus a few injuries, like we know, like Holding and Bellerin. So we had a few youngsters come in. Joe Willock playing and Mesut Ozil's number 10 position. Reece Nelson back from his loan at Hoffenheim playing out wide. They played very, very well. It was good to see the youngsters like coming into a hard game, because Newcastle are a decent team, and away from home at St. James's Park is a pretty daunting task for a 20-year-old, 19-year-old that's just starting to come into the first team. Also, Callum Chambers, who came back from his loan at Fulham, was a rock at the back with Socrates. Happy to have him back. And then another youngster, Maitland-Niles, with a wonderful cross to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to just lob it over the keeper. So I will say 1-0 is a fair reflection of the game, because considering we had youngsters and who played very well, but against proven Premier League opposition in Newcastle, it's a decent win. I would have taken more, but yeah, I will say I loved how we play all around, except for Granit Xhaka was slow, picked it up, but then Mkhitaryan was just shit all around. But that's a story for another day. And then the big headliner was Manchester United 4, Chelsea 0. I will say, to start off with, this is not a fair reflection again on the game on Chelsea's behalf. I think they played a lot better than what the scoreline suggests. But, one stupid error from Kurt Zouma to trip Martial in the box, I believe it was, which was just stupid decision making. And then after scoring the second goal, Rashford converted the penalty, I should say. After Martial slotted home the second, you have within the span of 30 seconds, Rashford scoring again straight away from kickoff after Martial scored, which is just a big lapse in concentration. And then you had Daniel James finishing it off towards the end of the game with a very emotional goal. Like, I know it's Manchester United, but I just love when players show that much emotion in a celebration, especially with what this boy has been through. 2 weeks, I believe it was, or let's just say weeks in general, just to not spread false news. Weeks before his move to Manchester United, his father passed away. And you could if you knew the story as the game was happening live, I knew that this had happened, right? Because I know that the death of his father delayed his move to Manchester United by a week or two. And with that on the back of my mind, when I saw him come on for his debut, because he was a substitute when he came on, and then when I saw him score, with that being in the back of my head when I think of Daniel James, it's just incredible. I love when players celebrate like that in general with that much emotion, especially when it's on a debut as well, whether it be you're a new transfer or an academy product, which Daniel James is pretty is still a young player, so he looks like an academy graduate due to his age, but we know he's not. He came from Swansea. but it was still his debut as well. Seeing that celebration, aside from the fact of his with that bearing in mind of his father, was just incredible enough. But with that in mind, with his father, it was just wow, like hands off, hats off to him. It was heartwarming to see because I did watch the game live. Paul Pogba ran the show from midfield, a phenomenal performance. Conte came on late on. I think Conte is a big miss for Chelsea. He was not fit. He has had a wiggling injury. We'll get more onto Conte in a bit. And then you had Christian Pulisic coming on for his debut. He did not have a bad debut at all. It's just a bad day at the office for Chelsea all around. But speaking of Chelsea, I should say, today, Wednesday, was also the UEFA Super Cup between Liverpool and Chelsea, where Chelsea did play a lot better today in today's game. It was, from a neutral's perspective, from someone who just wants to watch football, it was a really, really good game. Hats off, especially to, first and foremost, Frank Lampard. We all know he has tremendous pressure on his shoulders. Taking over from Maurizio Sarri, had a transfer ban. He's had to rely on many youngsters. So yeah, I mean, it hasn't been easy for him at all this summer because, when a manager doesn't have the power to have transfers, it sucks, especially when a team like Chelsea needs transfers. I mean, I don't think there's a team that every transfer there needs to be like a team. Well, I mean, Tottenham Hotspur did it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like every team needs a transfer, I guess. At least once every summer. I mean, Tottenham didn't do it, but that's a story for another day. With Mauricio Pochettino, he's magic. It's Mauricio Pochettino. I can't believe I'm fucking saying that. I mean, I hate Tottenham, but you have to give praise to Pochettino. I respect Poch so much. Regardless of that, not to get too off topic, Chelsea plays so well. Pulisic and Giroud combining for the first goal. Oh my, Pulisic with that assist. And then you had Pulisic with a disallowed goal, which was a stunning goal, which unfortunate to be offsides. And then you had N'Golo Kante, man of the match by far. Ran the show. He's not even 100% fit. He was all over the place. I was watching the game. He was good from what I saw, but when you look at his actual stats, I don't have them pulled up here, but I want you guys to look at his stats from the game. It's just wow. He's a different class, and to see him marking Virgil van Dijk, it's a meme that's going around right now today, post-match. It's pretty funny. He's 5'6". It looks like he's hugging a 6'4" Van Dijk. And then you see his face at the end when Chelsea do ultimately lose on penalties. It's sad because no one wants to see a sad N'Golo Kante. It's not a pleasing thing to see. But nonetheless, great performance from both teams all around. Unlucky for Chelsea. Unlucky for Tammy Abraham, the youngster who missed the penalty. But yeah, it was a great game all around. I know it's only the UEFA Super Cup, but I was pretty pleased with what I saw. Adrian, the backup goalkeeper who had to come on against Norwich, he was the hero who saved the penalty. Alisson's backup, by the way. It's funny because what a story. Like, I've always known Adrian as one of the Premier League's like underrated, decent keepers. Lost his place to Lucas Fabianski last season at West Ham, which was his final season. Contract ran out, was a free agent. His last game for West Ham was a 4-2 loss in the FA Cup to AFC Wimbledon of League One. And then in the summer he was training with a lower division Spanish team. I think it was, don't quote me on this, but from what I've heard, I'm thinking it was a 6th division team in Spain, which is crazy to think of. Then signed for Liverpool on August 4th, and then on August 15th, the man is saving them in the UEFA Super Cup. Wow, they had such Adrian. What or Adrian, however you want to say. I just say Adrian because that's the proper way to say his name. But yeah, enough of talking about the English Premier League. Let's just wrap the show up with the last few remaining minutes we have on the rest of the world. Obviously, on top of FPL, you guys know other leagues. Well, I hope you guys know other leagues kick off this weekend as well. Along with the UEFA Europa League and Champions League qualifiers that have gone on, are going on midweek. On Friday, we have League 1 starting off with Lyon versus Angers. The Bundesliga starting with Bayern Munich versus Hertha Berlin. And the La Liga starting off with Athletic Bilbao hosting Barcelona. And if the reports are to be believed, Messi will miss the opener with a small injury. It shouldn't be a big deal. You would expect Barca to still win regardless, but you never know. Athletic Bilbao are a decent team, which I have to just say real quick. Iñaki Williams, if you guys don't know who Iñaki Williams is, you guys have been living under a rock, I'm sorry. Phenomenal talent from Bilbao, a product of their academy. I signed a 9-year contract till 2028. Like, I've heard of a 7-year contract from Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid, but a 9-year contract, like, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's just, wow. Whew. That's all I gotta say. That's all I have to say. And apparently he has a huge release clause as well. Phenomenal player. I mean, I wouldn't say worth the release clause, but definitely 100% can do better than Atletico Bilbao, with all due respect. And then you also have, for Real Madrid fans, for you Madridistas, you guys kick off against Celta Vigo away from home. Let's see how the new number 7, Eden Hazard, does. I can't wait to see that. Again, then you have the rest of the Premier League fixtures, Ligue 1, Bundesliga, everything's just kicking off. Serie A has always been the one to kick off a little bit later in August. I'm not sure if it's next week or so, but it's to be determined. Let's just say that because I'm not gonna try to look it up live because that's just whack. And I would also like to give a quick shout out to our social media team real quick while I have the moment here, going a little bit off topic. If you guys have noticed, we have put our league predictions for the top 5 leagues this season on our social media pages on Instagram and on Facebook. I want to give a quick shout out. These guys do so much work behind the scenes. Shout out Fernando, Devin, Erlen, and Andres. Couldn't have done this without you. I'm only saying this now because I still have the FPL on the back of my mind. Like, it's just amazing. Like, you guys are the best. I would also like to say, going back to football, something that for me personally, and I know for Andres as well, is just freaking amazing. Like, I just feel so much pride and like so much. I'm sorry, I'm tearing up from the FPL, but I just feel so much pride and so much, I'm just overall excitement and happiness for the future of the game of football, considering that today that Stephanie Frappert was the first ever woman to officiate a UEFA men's match in the Super Cup. The French official refereed the Women's World Cup final this past summer from the USA's victory against the Netherlands, and the touchline referees were also all female as well. And for me, if you guys are longtime listeners of Andres and I, when we used to do the podcast by ourselves, you guys know how much we're like into the growth of the women's game, and for us, this is just. There's nothing better, honestly. There is nothing better whatsoever. It's just, considering the amount of issues that the women's game has gone through, especially here in the United States with, the jokes about the wage gap, and then of the of the Dallas U15 team jokes, with all this, not to say backlash, but with all of the hate, I guess you can say, for the women's national team, all the banter that's thrown around the women's national team itself. It's just great to see this, not for our women's national team, but for the women's game in general, if you know what I'm trying to get to. Another topic of discussion, unfortunately, because for me, this is driving me insane. Neymar, because you guys know the Premier League transfer window has closed, so the European one is still open. You had low-key transfers like Wissam Ben Yedder to AS Monaco, and kind of a swap deal for Ronnie Lopez going from Monaco to Sevilla. But Neymar is apparently on his way to either Barcelona or Real Madrid, and Barcelona have had the first bid rejected, and then Barcelona came back with a second offer of Ivan Rakitic, Felipe Coutinho with 112 mil to get Neymar, which is just like beyond me. I don't really get why you do that. For me, it's just, this needs to end. Like, I just think Neymar's not gonna go anywhere. Like, it's just because it's Neymar. It's the big name transfer. It's the transfer of the summer. He didn't play in PSG's first game. He's coming back from an injury. He's just starting to train again. PSG fans telling him to get out with banners in their Ligue 1 opener. All apologies. Ligue 1 is not opening this weekend. They actually opened last weekend as well. So just to avoid that confusion, that's my fault. PSG fans telling him to get out. It's just stupid all around. I just think he's gonna stay, and this is all gonna look stupid when we look back on it. I mean, I could be made to eat my words, but at this point, like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm sorry. This is like the Eden Hazard transfer. It just rambles on and rambles on and rambles on. Like, come on. She just decide what's gonna happen already? God damn. So much of this shit dragging on. If you know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Another topic of discussion. I'm sorry. I went from being happy, emotional to like frustrated. Another bit of emotional news. Wesley Sneijder has retired from football, and for me, it's just as a 19-year-old boy, still a boy. I'm not a man. Yeah, I won't say that. As a 19-year-old, seeing Wesley Sneijder, Robert Van Persie, and Arjen Robben at the 2010 World Cup was phenomenal. How Wesley Sneijder did not win the Ballon d'Or that year was a disgrace to me. It's the biggest fraud of the Ballon d'Or ever. If Luka Modric was able to win it last year, I don't see why Wesley Sneijder wasn't able to win it. UEFA Midfielder of the Season, I think Player of the Season, best player in the 09-10 Champions League campaign when Inter won the treble, beating Bayern Munich at the Bernabeu, Santiago Bernabeu. Wesley Sneijder being the second best player at the World Cup behind Diego Forlan. And then, because Diego Forlan was just a beast, non-stop scoring beast at that point. But still, regardless, dragging his team to the final, being the talisman, he literally won everything that year for Inter Milan. So, for me, that was daylight robbery. But to see all of them retired this summer, it's just the end of an era. But, Dutch football is on the rise now, making the Nations League final this year. So, it's just exciting times for them all around. And to end it off, a short list for the UEFA nominees. So basically, for the men's, we have Virgil van Dijk, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo. And the women's player of the year is going to be Ademine Henry, Ada Hegerberg, or Lucy Bronze. All the Olympic Lyon players, interestingly enough. I'll reveal my picks next week, along with Game Week 2 next week as well. Guys, we're reaching the end of the episode. I know I spoke a lot about FPL, but it's Game Week 1. I needed to help out some guys, some people who I know who have struggled. So yeah, that's that. I'll see you guys next time. Catch us on Spotify, SoundCloud, everywhere at Golasso Football Podcast. I've been DTG, and I'll catch you guys next week. See ya.